All right, guys. Wow. So yeah, I continue to be really busy. And one thing that's really cool is that I've hired a group of people to work below me. I'm making enough now where I can have employees, people that take care of specific stuff. Um, I really have good intentions, and I'd say like 80% of my problem is that I'm just really disorganized. People send me emails. Well, my Gmail was full for like 2 months. I didn't even know that you could like upgrade. So I don't know. I think I pay for 2 terabytes a month now. It's like $10. And so now that my old Gmail 313 works again. But I just, like, especially like with the raffles and then like, trying to sell blotter and books, I got so disorganized and I'm just not good at that kind of stuff. So now I have a guy named Joe. He's my friend. He's a solid ass dude. And he's taking care of all the Patreon gifts. If you've ever won anything in a raffle, if you ever paid for something and it didn't come and you've talked to me and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. Then I forget who I talked to. There's going to be a new email. It will be in the pinned comments. I'll put it on the pinned comments and you can talk to Joe directly. Joe makes a list, has a master list, knows what we've sent out. Since it's not me that you're dealing with, you're going to have to prove that you made a donation or that you won the raffle somehow. If you won it in a raffle, send the video link and send a timestamp, so that he knows, just, because it's not me. And yes, a lot of people have tried to get free shit from me throughout this time. Like, dude, I swear to God, man, you owe me a book. I'm like, okay. And then I send one. And then, I find out that I've already sent them one and they're just trying to get over on me. And, a lot of that's my fault because I'm disorganized. I have a lot of stuff planned, coming up, a lot, and I've only talked about some of it, but, right now I got June Gloom. I'm working my ass off trying to get that out by the deadline. And it's a lot of work. I don't know if there's people that have written novels that watch the channel, but it's a lot of work. And then I got another album, the documentary. Um, I think we're releasing at the end of the summer, regardless if there's festivals or not. It probably just go straight to a streaming service. So we're in the end phase with it. I'm dealing with that. I'm on the phone pretty much all day. But now I got people that work for me. I have people making a website. I have someone that volunteered to help with the Paul Project website. Then I'm going to have somebody managing the nonprofit effort, and I'm going to have I have people that are managing social media, the YouTube channel. I mean, like I said, I have a group of people, so I want things to work with more efficacy. Instead of just spending money on things that don't matter, I want to invest in myself. I've been disorganized. If I owe you anything from the past, definitely am in a position to make it right. I just ordered 100 snake ordinance blotters. So there's a whole new blotter series. There's only going to be 110 of them ever. We're not going to ever print anymore. I have merch that I've already paid for, hoodies. Then the COVID thing happened. So I just have to pick them up. And the guy said they'd be ready on the 16th. So now it's past the 16th. I can go get them. I just ordered 100 copies of my book. That'll be here like the first week of June. Point is look for the email address in the pinned comment, deal with Joe, anything like that, anything in the future. That way I can make things right. If I forgot you, it was not on purpose. And I can start, having him deal with the mailing side of everything, including the Narcan. And so, that's what we're trying to do. And I'm going to be doing a raffle with Sinister. It's just a lot of stuff to juggle. And I just want to focus on this side of it, just doing stories, especially when we get into the third prison term, because then you guys will be like, finally, this is so cool. This guy's locked in an 8x10 cell. What are you watching? Oh, it's just some guy talking about being locked up. It's pretty dope. Well, I want to do that. I want it to be dope. I don't want you to be like, this sucks. It's boring. You're too tan. You're a bitch. Your family hates you. It's like, dude, okay. I tell you this shit every episode. But so I'm going to have somebody that's going to come in. They're going to delete comments. You're not going to get blocked anymore. You're just going to get deleted. and it's not me. But anyway, okay, let's get into the video. Like, comment, subscribe, patreon.com/Ryan Leone. Now I'm going fucking crazy in the story. The guys in the suits. That was the first thing. That was like the catalyst that kicked this whole thing off. I don't know how many days it'd been, but it'd been days since I'd slept. Smoking a cigarette. Car drives by, and there's guys in suits with the little digital camera, like the kind they used in like the early 2000s. You know the type. When you scroll through it, and it's like just pictures of like girls, like the girls you don't even know. You're like, what the fuck is that? It's just some random chick that you're at a party with, and you're like, dude, let's take a picture. It's like a tactic to fuck them. It was a pretty cool picture, huh? Yeah, it's cool. You want to fuck? Okay. This party's fucking awesome. That's what it was like when I was like in my 20s, but I don't know. Not with girls though, with homeless dudes, shit like that. So anyway, the guys in the suit, that really wigged me out. Started freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, what do they want? What could it be? I mean, I'm talking shit to my PO. I'm leaking videos of him. I fired my attorney. I'm going through a divorce at the time. So possibly it's my ex-wife and like has a PI and she's trying to get my assets. What assets did I have exactly? I had nothing, literally. So that's not what it was. I don't know. I mean, but I'd fired Zach. Maybe he's sending his henchmen. Who knows? Zach didn't have henchmen, but I don't know. Maybe he didn't. I didn't know about it. If Zach did have henchmen, them being in a Buick with a small digital camera is what I would expect, because it'd be some shit that he'd like buy like off the internet, like rent a henchman, and that's like what they look like comes with the camera. That's like an upsell, like like when you get to the checkout part of ordering something online and like the total is like 45, and you're like, okay, that's cool, and then it's like, or you can spend 15 more and you can get this, and you're like, oh my God, I need that. It's always something stupid. It's like, you're ordering like new shoes and it's like a matching scarf and you're like, need that, click it, and then it's like $60. It's the worst. They target us for compulsive shopping, and it's the same with subscription models. I hate that. I hate the subscription models. The bastards get you because it's always like this, especially now with smart TVs. These people get you like this. There's a movie you want to see. Die Hard 2. Produced by Michael Levy and Dave. And they don't have it on Netflix. They don't even have it on Amazon Prime. But you're using your little Amazon Fire Sticks. You're like, oh, I wonder what other options. And then there's some obscure thing. I forget or Sony Crackle. I always tell Karina, I'm like, does that mean cuckold? Does that like mean that like somebody fucks your chick in front of you? Weirdo shit. I guess that's a fetish. That's not my thing, but there are people that like that. I always thought that was one of the weirder things. I'm like, at least that's not my thing. That's kind of a weird thing, right? It's like, dude, can you fuck my wife? Oh, that's hot. Oh yeah, suck his dick, babe. That's gross. Sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I'm pretty liberal. I'm pretty open to like, whatever. I don't know. If there's crystal meth involved, I'm pretty much down for anything. So, but I don't do crystal meth, so it's off the table. But like, you're like, oh my God, Sony Crackle. I can watch Die Hard 2. It's like free trial. And then it's like $65 after. You're like, fuck it, I'll just cancel in a week. And do you ever do that? I don't. We get charges. We look through our credit card and it's like, we have like 40 different charges from Amazon. We're like, what the fuck? I'm sorry for getting off in this tangent. Okay, so anyway, so that was kind of like the catalyst. Like that's when stuff really started getting weird because I had in my mind that like there were people after me, and I didn't know who these people were. It can be anything. And, at this point, I had no idea what it was. Hold on. Sorry. That was bugging me. One piece of skin right here. All right. So anyway, so this is what happens. So my dad invites Karina and I to go to a Los Angeles Kings hockey game. I'd never been to a Kings game before, but my dad had really good seats at the Staples Center in downtown LA, and he invited us to go. So, Karina and I, and to this day, it's very similar. Um, back then, look, I'm going to work really hard now so that I can stay out of prison, and then I'll give you all the time in the world. I won't neglect you. And right now I'm like, oh my God, I need to put the work in now so that we have stability later, and then I can focus on you and Nico later. That's not the right approach. It should always be a balance. You're going to be happier in life if you have a balance. I suck at that shit. Suck at it. Anything I do, I'm an extremist. Anything. Doesn't matter. If it just doesn't matter what I'm doing. So back then I didn't really have a lot of leisure time with her. It was more just like I would do my business, and then like once in a while she'd be like half asleep, and I'd wake her up and I'd be like, hey, you want to fuck? And she'd be like, oh, fuck, that's all you want. And we like have sex, and I'd just be like, I love you. Kiss her on the cheek, and I go, and then she'd be like, all you use me for is sex. I'm like, what? That's not true. I text you. That's something. If sex is all I cared about, I wouldn't even text you. I'd just keep you in the room, and we'd have sex when I wanted to. I text you. Be like, yeah, but it's only the heart. You didn't even write words. I'm like, that. It's 2017, babe. That's just how relationships are. She's like, no, it's not. And I was just horrible. So this was going to be like our big outing. Go to King's game. She loves doing stuff like that, and I like when she's happy. It's like she's like a fun person to make happy. There's people like that, like where you get excited when you get them a present because it's just fun to see how excited they get. Like I don't like opening presents because I always I feel awkward. Like you're opening it and everyone's just like watching you, and like if you get too excited, you're like, oh my god, scarf that matches my shoes. How'd you know? I was going to buy this, but I didn't have enough at the checkout. Thank you so much. And then people think you're disingenuous. But then if you're not excited enough, you're just like, oh, a scarf? Cool. Thanks. Then they're like, oh, you hate it. And you're like, no, I don't. So it's like you have to find, it's like, and that sucks. I don't know. Because my genuine reaction, I'm just like, oh, that's cool. But that's never good enough. It's either I don't like it, you ungrateful son of a bitch. I've opened present. I've been in situations like that with my family. I'm like, what? All right, I'm sorry. You're right. This is a dope ornament. Super appreciative. Thank you. Put it in the Christmas box. Next year, I swear to God, we'll put it up. Thank you. It's a dope ornament, Dad. Appreciate it. So it was like it was fun to be able to take her to the Kings game because she really appreciates that, And we get in the car, and I told her, okay, I said, hey, listen, no work stuff. We're just gonna go to the game. I'm not even gonna be on my phone. Let me get a few emails out of the way as we drive down there. My dad's driving. We're in my dad's car. We're in the backseat. Start checking my emails, and I don't remember why, but I had to check my sent emails. I had to, I don't know. I think I was looking for something to copy and paste. I go in there, and I notice that one of the most recent emails that I wrote was to Jerry Stahl. Now, Jerry and I, just to refresh your memory, we had a falling out. He sent me kind of, a confrontational email. And then I just went hard, and I said a bunch of crazy shit. That was 2 weeks before this, maybe a week or two before this. So there's no way that he was the last person I wrote. And I was like, well, that's weird. Click on it. And somebody had forwarded Jerry the letter that I had written, the email that I'd written to Tony O'Neill, where I was like, I have pneumonia. I'm going to die. You must think I'm a punk. It made me sound super insane because I am insane, but it's the kind of thing where, and everybody has this, you have falling outs with people and you say ridiculous stuff, I'm trying to think. You only hung out with me because my car. They're like, dude, it's a Honda, stuff like that. And you say stuff, you're throwing it out, you're being petty. And in the moment, there's fury. So you can be like, you only hung out with me because of my fucking badass 2004 Honda, and then afterwards you're like, oh my God, that sounded stupid. Okay, so there's the stupid thing, and then also there's irrational, like just angry stuff that you say. Like, for example, for this one, this is a real example. Tony, I'm on my way to the hospital right now because I have pneumonia, which is true. I'm probably gonna die. You have blood on your hands, you motherfucker. Which is ridiculous. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. You know, it's like when you break up with someone, they're like, "Well, I'm gonna kill myself now. Hope you're happy. Gotta go. Gotta go die. Bye." You know, and then like later, you're not angry anymore, so you like read what you wrote, and you're like, "Oh my god, I sound like a weirdo." You know, and you're embarrassed. So the email that I'd written Tony was something that was only supposed to go to Tony because it was ridiculous. Yeah, blood on your hands. But somebody had forwarded to Jerry. Now, I certainly didn't do that. It was like, you know, obviously somebody did it to try to make me look more insane. I'm like, so I logged into Google, you know, I like the desktop version on my phone. And like, you know, my dad's talking to me. I'm like, hold on. I think I was hacked by the guys in the suit in the digital camera. My dad's like, what? I was like, shh, shh. So I'm looking to see, because you can look on your Google, you can see like where stuff was sent from, which device. So it said a Mac in Los Angeles. We're still in Santa Barbara. So it's definitely hacked. Somebody in LA got into my email, forwarded the email that I wrote Tony O'Neill to Jerry Stahl because it made me look crazy. And I just had a falling out with Jerry. Like the last thing I wanted was him to see like another psychotic thing that I wrote somebody, you know? Like you get mad at someone like and you say some crazy shit, that's like one thing. But if you're like on a roll, if you're on some straight like saying stupid shit massacre and you're just sending it out to everybody you know, that's bad because then everybody starts calling you crazy. You know, you can have a falling out with one person, it's whatever. You have a falling out with everybody, you're an asshole. That's just how it is. So it's clear that somebody did this with malicious intent. Somebody got on my email, sent it to him to try to make me look bad, to smut me up. I'm freaking out. You know, I'm raising my voice. I'm like, you don't understand. We have to go back now. Now, there's a multi-million-dollar contract for the sequel to Blow. There's all my pimping and pandering case. We got to call the feds, man. My dad's like, listen, Ryan, you're on federal probation. The last thing you need to do is call the feds and tell them that you got hacked and that you're scared that your pimping and pandering case documents may have been stolen or that your Blow 2 contract might be in there and somebody might take it and sabotage Blow 2, you know? You tell the feds, yeah, man, I mean, I'm writing a sequel to Blow and someone may have stolen some of the contracts. There's also some pimping and pandering information in there. And the information I'm talking about is the information that I'm putting in the film anyway. It's the stuff that I stole, like that, the footage of me, like in the police interview. It's good footage. You know, Adam definitely didn't want me to have it, but I got it. I'm going to use it. That's public information, you know? So I'm glad I got it. But, you know, basically somebody did hack into my account. I mean, that much we knew. The reaction that I had to it, where immediately I wanted to call the feds, you know, I mean, I was free. I was like, maybe we should get a gun. I don't know. Fuck it. It's like, you can't have a gun. You're a felon and you're on federal probation. I was like, I don't care. My life's in danger. My dad's like, oh my God. So, like, of course, this becomes the whole focal point of the entire trip down to LA. It gets more ridiculous. So we get to this game. My dad got really good seats. I don't even know where he got. I don't know what it was. I think maybe he got him as a gift or I don't even remember what the situation was, but he had really good seats. It's like 4 rows from the ground level. So it's like right there. I mean, those tickets were probably very expensive. I know. I want to say he didn't pay for them. I think he did get them as a gift or something. I don't remember. First thing happens is there's a drunk guy sitting next to us. You know, classic drunk guy. Has the tank top with the faded Tasmanian devil logo on it, and he's belching. He's looking at me. He's like, I want to see a fucking fight, man. I want to see one of these hockey players fuck some guy up, man. I was like, all right. You know how when you're not drunk and somebody's like that, you're just like, all right. I can't stand people like that. I just don't like being around drunk, sloppy people. It always bugs me. Like, there's good Jeff, he can't drink. Jeff has one drink and horrible things happen. One drink. In high school, Jeff like threw his parents' TV out the window, and like the local news station came out of nowhere and was like filming him. It looked like he was like some PCP possessed zombie, and you're just and he's like ripping like plants out, and like you can see the roots coming out, and like the police are and this was like on TV. And we're like, well, what's up with Jeff? And they're like, two tall boys. I was like, damn. That was like one time. Then another time, Jeff went to Not Scary Farm, which is not if you're not from California, Knott's Berry Farm is amusement park here. I think they make jelly as well, or jam. Might be jam. I don't know. And I wasn't there that night, but I guess Jeff had like he drank like a 40-ounce drink, and he was like, waddling around all wasted. I'll fight anybody. You are all a bunch of bitches. He turns into like some like mean version of Arthur, the alcoholic, where he's like all entitled and wasted. I don't know. It's a weird combination of like Gatsby, Arthur, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a train wreck, I don't know. Just imagine a train wreck. Some very belligerent person. So anyway, talk shit to somebody at Not Scary Farm, and he ends up getting in a fight and he breaks his leg. He had like a 40-ounce drink that time. So he just doesn't drink. He won't drink. I mean, like maybe one beer. Anything over a beer, it's all bad. And this guy was acting like Jeff. He's just like, yeah, I can't wait to see that man. I'm fucking drunk. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, Dad, how expensive are these seats? Like, do we have to sit next to this guy? And he's like eating, like, he's eating a hot dog and there's like mustard on the side of his face, and it looks like he's sucking a dick. And you're like, ugh. And Karina's like, just watch the game. Fuck. And my dad bought us like King's hat, and we had like our sunglasses on. We had like a King's jersey. We're all Kings out. I don't even like follow hockey at all. I'm such a poser. We're like decked out in King's gear. This guy, the drunk guy, pukes. And I'm like, oh my, are you fucking serious? I stand up and I start talking shit to him. Now, my dad's right next to me. Karina's right next to me on the other side. My dad has to get up and like get, I'm just like, clean your shit up. It's bad enough hearing your annoying ass. Take your Tasmanian devil fucking jersey off and scrub that on your hands and knees, you bitch. Karina's like, what? She'd always be like, Jesus, pump the brakes, buddy. I'm like, no, you must not realize who we are. And we have like our aviators on, like indoors. So anyway, so then the staff comes and they start mopping it up, and like they don't do a good enough job. So I like make like this huge scene, and I'm like, no, your workers didn't get the vomit up correctly. Do you want me to get the mop and show them how it's done? Do you know who I am? I'm a prison reform activist. With my aviators. And so I go back to the seat. And you know how when you're at a game, there's like that big screen, and like there's just like a cameraman will just randomly kind of like go around and like catch people on it. And then people, they're like talking, and then like they look up and they're like, oh, hey. And they like start doing dumb shit. Well, Karina and I saw ourselves on there, and I'm like, oh my God, we're on TV. And I'm like, let's kiss. And we start like making out, and they filmed us for a while, and like everybody was like applauding. It was actually pretty cool. Like the whole stadium like saw us like making out, and like in our aviators and King's get up. But then right after we were off, I was like, wait a second. They can't film me without my consent. I was like, dude, the doc's going to come out. I'm going to blow up valuable footage. So I was like, I got to go talk to them. So I went to the middle of the game. So my dad and Karina are like, I'm like, listen, I got to go talk to the staff. That's just unacceptable unless they give me a copy of it. And I started thinking about that. That'd be good B-roll for the documentary. So I like embark on some journey. I go out and I'm like, I go, excuse me. My name is Ryan Leone. I don't know. You may have heard of me. I'm the screenwriter of Blow 2. And like the girl's like probably like 24. She's like, there's a sequel to Blow. I was like, yeah, I'm the guy that wrote it. I haven't even written it. I'm just getting we're like forming this deal. It hasn't even gone through yet. I have no idea if I'm writing it. I was like, I need to talk to somebody in media. I'm going to have to confiscate that footage. Clearly they didn't know who they were filming. I mean, it's okay. I'm in a disguise. I got these aviators. I got the hat on. I get it. But my management's not going to get it. My manager's not going to be cool with it. How am I going to explain it to my manager? How am I going to tell my manager that I came to a game and now you guys took footage of me? Nah, that ain't going to fly. So, like, I don't even know, like some VP of media like comes out in like a suit. They're like, hi, sir. And I was like, hey, I gave him the same spiel. Well, my name is Ryan Leone. Every time I'm like explaining who I am, I'm like, best-selling author. You may have heard of me. I'm like, oh, really? What have you written? Blow 2. Like, there's a Blow 2? I was like, yeah. And I wrote it. I'm like, oh, cool, man. Well, listen, we have no control over the people that are filming. That's outsourced. That's not through us. We have no affiliation with them. So what I can do is I can get down your contact information, and then we can have the people that are filming, get back to you. We can pass it on. We can relay it to them. I was like, that's fine. That's fine. I was like, what? Why don't I give you my manager's information? He's like, okay, no problem. Well, first, what's your name? I'm like, I'm Ryan Leone. Ryan Leone, okay. I was like, my manager is a guy named Charles Lago. He's like, Charles Lago. I said, can you write DTLA Entertainment and that he's my manager on there? DTLA Entertainment Manager. Okay, got it. All right. I was like, hold on. And I'm like scrolling through my phone. I'm like, let me give you my attorney's name. So I give him that, my attorney's name, woman who's also a producer of the film. She'd probably be mad if I said her name though. I think she's that kind of person. Attorneys are weird like that. So I'm like, okay, that's my attorney. Then I like get Jeff's number. I'm like, hey, hold on. Let me give you my publicist. And the guy's just kind of like, yeah, I was like, no. You don't understand the urgency. This can be a big deal. I have an exclusivity clause in my contract. There's no other media allowed. He's like, okay. And like, I'm giving him all the information. I'm like, oh, one more thing. Can you follow me on Twitter and Instagram? It's Ryan Leone 85. He just looks at me like, I think that, and I really said that, I'm not joking. I think that at that point, he knew that he was dealing with like a completely insane person that like had, like you could tell that I was in a state of delusion and psychosis at this point. And I made this like convoluted story. And at first I think he was like, okay, we'll just, put your information. But I'm like, can you call okay, here's my manager. Here's my attorney. Here's Jeff. Jeff is my publicist. Jeff doesn't wear shoes. Jeff juggles pineapples at the farmer's market and reads haiku poetry at open mic nights. He's like, dude, look, okay, I got to go. I'm like, okay. So I go back. So I like missed the whole game doing this. And I went back. I was like, oh, I mean, hey, I'm a media entity now. I do what I got to do. Sorry. Karina's like, okay, you missed like the whole game. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Could be a real liability if they put some of that footage out. Karina's like, dude, you're not a celebrity. What are you talking about? Nobody gives a shit if you have King's footage. Doesn't affect, what are you talking about? Just like, you don't get it. You're a civilian. She's like, I'm a civil. What does that mean? I'm like, means you're a civilian. I'm sorry. I'm a rock star. I put my glasses back on. I was like, we'll talk about it later. I don't want any fans to hear. She's like, you don't have any fans? What are you talking about, man? So on the way back home, I talked to Nick. Nick calls, and I'm in the back seat of the car after the game. So my dad's mad because I missed the whole game. Karina's mad because I wasn't there. That was supposed to be like our date. We're gonna cuddle up. We're gonna watch the game, and I could get out of work mode for a little bit. But that's not the case. They came and filmed me, and then I went off on this thing. So then, instead of talking to them, which is what I should have done, Nick called me, and I was like, I got to take this. Oh, hey, brother, what are you doing? It's like, hey, where are you? I'm like, I'm in the car going back to Santa Barbara. We just went to a Kings game. He's like, oh, should I call you back? Oh, no, they don't care. And they're just like both looking like, oh my. So the whole car ride home, I'm talking to Nick, and I'm just like, and like, I think he knew that I was like in a state of complete weirdo-ness, because I'm telling him about the FBI or the hacked email and how I think that the feds rolled up. I'm not sure. I mean, it could be my parole officer. It could be Zach. Maybe it's Dave, maybe it's an outsourced thug from China. Who knows? And Nick's like, doesn't really know me that well, so he's just kind of listening, regardless of the fact if I'm in a state of like deep mania and just like hallucinating. And I think it was still interesting for people to hear, and I talked to Jim a lot during this period. He wrote a letter to the judge, and I'll share that with you guys sometime. But Jim basically said in that letter that during that period, he was my voice of sanity. Like, I'd call him and he would try to like get me back to reality a little bit. So I get back home. I'm starting to have confrontational phone calls with my PO and with the supervisor. Like, they're calling me and they're asking me, like, oh, so you're in AA now. And I'm like giving him Nick's number. I'm like, yeah, that's my sponsor, because he really was helping me with step stuff. Just like explaining to me different things that he had learned throughout the years. And it just became this like there was like, just imagine different plot lines, it's like Karina and I's relationship is one, the event is another one, and that the whole thing was falling apart very rapidly. It like came to a point where we couldn't get Trejo. And as I don't know if I got into it in the last video, but I'd stayed up. Max, like, I begged him to get me groceries because Karina, had left. And so I think the hockey thing happened before the thing with Max. I don't know. It's really hard. The chronology is really tough. Point is, though, is like Max, when he came and saw me and I'd been up for days, my feet were all black because I wore my Nike slides all day. He saw that I had lost a lot of weight. I was very, very, very skinny at this point. I'll post a picture of what I look like from this period, and it's like some creepy shit. And when he saw me, I think he was convinced that I was on drugs. So he pulled out, or he started pulling out of everything, and this just drove me like deeper into psychosis because I didn't really know who to trust. I think Zach had told him I was on drugs. I think maybe Max had told Zach that I was on drugs. Like, it was one way or the other. Like, they were like egging each other on, like, hey, you can't deal with him. He's just a straight up rabid dope fiend. He's unreliable. So I'm working on the nonprofit, and I'm thinking that by some like miracle, we'll still be able to pull off the event, even though Max is pulling out of it. Like, he had officially decided that he was going to pull out of it. But with Max, like, sometimes he says stuff out of anger and then he'll change his mind later. So I, like, in my head, I didn't take that as reality, and even the people at the theater would call me and they'd be like, man, I really, we put the ticket sales up. You've sold 2 out of 800. I really think you should read. I mean, they were being really nice. They were like willing to give me the deposit. I was like, no. I'm selling them on my PayPal. Don't even trip. I'm taking care of the ticket sales. So I continue to stay up and not sleep. And it was time for Thanksgiving. And I told this story in the Simon Rex show, but in case you guys didn't hear it, this is what happened. So it's Thanksgiving, and every year I go up to Northern California with my family. I mean, it depends on if I'm strung out or not. If I'm strung out, my parents like don't include me, or they like give me a mask. They give me like a Nixon mask, and they're like, just put it on, put a hoodie on too. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, then they're gonna think it's weird. They're like, no, 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 no. And they're like, don't talk, and I'll just be like sitting at the table with my Nick. No, that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, if I'm strung out, they won't take me around my extended family because my cousins, my uncles, they're all nobody has a drug problem but me. Like I'm the druggie, you know, and not just like a normal druggie. I'm like been to prison druggie. You know, I'm the kind of druggie that when I'm at like Thanksgiving dinner, they probably look at me and they're like, man, like when I'm not there, they're probably talking about, man, do you ever wonder if Ryan's like ever sucked a dick for crack or anything? He probably has. That's what drug addicts do. Yeah. It's really tragic. For like a straight laced family, I'm like an IV heroin user, a smoker. And I'm like, the way I talk to you guys is how I talk to my family, you know? Like, oh, where have you been? Oh, been to rehab. Oh, what happened? Oh, I just got really addicted to crack. I fucked my first hooker a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was weird, but it was kind of like a cool experience too. I just had to get it out of the way. I'll say stuff like that to them. So my parents are very like apprehensive about including me. This year or that year, this is 2017. I was in an obvious state of psychosis. So I could tell that my parents were ambivalent about having me go up there. Like they wanted to go, they wanted me to be included. They knew I was going to prison. Karina was pregnant. She was supposed to go up with us, but they knew that my mental health was like in a sharp decline. So my dad had called and he said, hey, we're going to take the minivan. My dad was paying for the rental of the minivan at this point. And he's like, I'll drive up there. But the minivan's bigger because it was going to be me, my mom, Karina, and my dad. My dad was going to be driving. I continued to stay up. So I think by the time we started heading up there, I've been up for like 5 or 6 days, I want to say. I mean, I was like to the point where I was getting audible hallucinations at this point. And what does that sound like? I don't know. Like I'd hear ruffling sounds, like, like maybe like an animal in bushes, but I'd be in a car where it's impossible to hear stuff like that. Or like I'd hear like a single note from a piano, and like I think that it was music or sounds from somewhere distant, but it wasn't. I was just hearing things because of sleep deprivation. So I was in like legitimate psychosis. People go, I've stayed up for 3 days, I've stayed up for 4 days, and I've seen shit. And then you always got the guys in county, oh, I've stayed up for 79 days. It's always like some like contest with tweakers. I stayed up for 79 days, but fuck 7 guys. Took apart a compactor, made a fucking elevator out of it. And then just like pass out. You ever see that when tweakers have been like up and like every time they come to county, the tweakers, they just crawl up in bed and they just go to sleep for a fucking 2 weeks. Come out of it and they're like a normal person again. It's really bizarre. But so I was in legit psycho. I mean, 5, 6 days, I'm seeing stuff. I'm seeing all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm like looking out the window and I'm like seeing someone stand in the street that's not there. Way out stuff. I bring a bunch of, at this point, my physician was giving me Xanax bars. I'm the worst person with Xanax in the world. Turns me into a completely different person. I'm just not me. It really affects me in a weird way. I don't know, like the same way that alcohol affects Jeff. So I remember I was eating Xanax like candy on the way up there. We piled in the van night before, I was getting close to signing the blow deal with Jose. He was like in the middle of it. We might come to some agreement on Thanksgiving. So like that was brewing. The nonprofit was brewing. We'd already paid for it to file with the Secretary of State. The event was like, I don't know if it was going to happen or not. I was just I'd already printed the flyers. I already had that big billboard of me. I was hoping it went down. So I'm up in this minivan, popping Xanax like candy, and I'm smoking blunts. My parents don't care if I smoke weed. And I'm like, every time we stop the car, I'm lighting up. Karina's pregnant, so I'm not smoking like with her in the car. Every time we go to like a gas station or go get food, I'll like just go to the side of the building and I'll just start, puffing a joint by myself or a blunt by myself, a blunt wraps. And Thanksgiving was going to be held in Santa Cruz. So we were leaving from Santa Barbara. That's like a 6-hour drive, 5 or 6 hour drive. We finally get up there and we see all of my extended family. Now, I brought my short story about when the balloons are in the guy's stomach in prison and they cut the stomach open and take the balloons out. It has that scene where like these black guys like try to make this young black guy suck their dick and he refuses, so they kill him and fuck his dead body. Pretty mellow kind of story. But that book had just come out, and believe me, that story stuck out like a sore thumb. Like everybody else in that anthology wrote these like cutesy little short stories. I wrote like some like Requiem for a Dream-esque, dark, perverted, fucked up story. I was like, masterful. That's when I was like, my name's not on the cover. And I like insisted that they change it. God, I feel like a dick to this day. Did I even go into that? But anyway, so I brought all those books as gifts. I'm like, I wrote this story. I hope that they didn't read that story because I was in Psychosis and I was like, they'll understand. I'm just the tortured, kind of hard to understand artist. Totally in some weed and Xanax delusional place in my mind. So I gave him all these books. I'm like, yeah, this was just published. You see my name's on the cover. Yeah, I didn't even ask him to do that. No. They just did it the first time. No, I didn't insist. I didn't insist that they did. I'd be so narcissistic. So of course it's me. Well, what have you been up to? I'm like, have you ever heard of Blow? They hadn't heard of Blow. Not one person. That should tell you something about that. Who the fuck hasn't seen Blow? To me, that's like a cinematic staple. And it is to most people I know. I mean, that's not the kind of stuff they watch. They watch like You've Got Mail, anything with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. That's what they're into. Even shit with them not in it. They'll just like pretend that Meg Ryan's in it too. They'll be like, let's just pretend that one of these other characters is Meg so that it has the fun chemistry of the other films. It's like the kind of family that has like arts and crafts time together. I like, okay, 7:30 on a weekday, arts and crafts, guys. Let's make macaroni friendship necklaces and celebrate our family friendship. And I'm not saying that any of this is bad. In fact, I wish that I was part of it because I feel so bad. Like I'm such an outcast and I wish that I just, I don't know. I'm kind of like on a different trip, I'm like, look at my new pick and poke tattoo that I got in prison. Oh yeah, I got that in state. Because all that stuff's blasé and normal to me, not to them. So it's like just me. I keep taking phone calls. Karina's getting to know them, so she's socializing with them. Jose's like, hey, we've come to an agreement. The only agreement was going to be a letter of intent so that I could say it in press. And I had like a Vice interview lined up. LA Weekly. I had LA Weekly lined up. I don't know, a bunch of different interviews that are all surrounding me getting the rights for Blow 2. So Jose finally calls me and said, we got a deal. Let's do it. Let's send the letter of intent. Let's see how the press responds to it. And then we can kind of build what we're trying to do past that. So that was a big deal for me because then I could legally say it in press. So he ended up actually emailing it to my aunt and she printed it out. And I was so excited that I got it. But I was being such a dick to my parents and to Karina. They like weren't very celebratory. I'm like, I got the Blow contract. like standing on the table. I'm like, yes, yes. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. They're all normal. They're talking about like, oh, I was in Barcelona all summer. It's pretty neat. What were you doing? Oh, I was squatting in abandoned houses with my pregnant girlfriend. We were drinking stolen, wild turkey that we got from Trader Joe's. They're like, oh, they think that I'm like joking. It's like exactly what we were doing. So I'm like, let's not squander this opportunity. I get my phone and I set it up so that like the whole Thanksgiving is filmed. So tacky. I'm like, this is going in my documentary film. I'm like, Karina, don't you care that I got the Blow 2 deal? She's like, yeah, it's great. See, I didn't understand then, and we'll get into it in the third prison term. I didn't understand that. See, I was always like, I'm putting all this work in for you and for Nico. And she's like, the work doesn't matter if you don't spend time with us. Like you're working hard to support us, but I'd rather spend time with you. And it's the same way now. So I'm really trying to learn how to juggle. But I I felt a certain type of way, and the Xanax and weed did not help. So we leave, we're probably there for a couple hours. Then we're going to drive back home. My family always does weird shit like that doesn't make sense. Like, dude, let's go to San Francisco and we'll do Thanksgiving and then we'll leave the same day. It'll just be a super exhausting day full of lots of arbitrary pressure. Doesn't that sound cool? And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's how, like, I don't know. We do that all the time. And you're probably like, well, you did the same thing when you went and met Christina up there. Yes, but that was like business. If you're doing like a holiday or like a family event, you should have like a couple days just to relax, I think. So we leave. I smoke another blunt right before, and like none of my extended family smokes weed. I'm blowing up there. I'm like sitting there smoking a blunt. You know how much smoke a blunt makes? I'm just like sitting there all like, and I've been up, so it really makes my eyes slit. We get in the car, minivan, and it's probably like midnight. My dad starts driving. Now he's driving bad. My dad's old. You've seen him, and when you get elderly like that, it's harder to see at night. It's no fault of his own. And usually, if I wasn't in the state that I was, I would drive. You know, um, I don't drive when I smoke weed. Like I just don't. I don't drive under the influence of anything. Out of all the dirtbag shit that I've done, I've always been really against driving under the influence. I mean, listen, I've done it a bunch of times, but like I really, really try not to do it. Um, Especially like as I've gotten older, I don't do that. I just won't do it. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm already a shitty driver. I do not want to be responsible for hurting somebody that's blameless and innocent. And even when I got that DUI, when I went to the feds for the second time, I shouldn't have gotten that. I wasn't drunk. I blew a .06. But anyway, my dad starts swerving a little bit. And I start yelling at him. I'm like, Dad, you're making me nervous. Get off the road. My dad still doesn't do it. He's still swerving. And then I just start screaming. I said, Dad, I have a pregnant girlfriend. Get your fucking ass off the road. Like to the point where my dad's just like trying to get off the road, but he pulls into the median, like the center median, the center divide. Like, what are you doing? You can't pull off the freeway like that. You have to go. What are you doing? And so my dad ends up like getting off the freeway and we're in Watsonville, California. Now, Watsonville is Norteño territory. It is the hood. Northern California ghettos are not like Compton where you're going to see like ghetto birds and you're going to see like, I don't know. It's just it's like agricultural ghetto. So like you don't really realize how fucked up of a place you're in because like you'll see paisas, you'll see some like white guys in flannels, and you're like, huh, these guys look like they just sell avocados out of a bag or something, but they have like a butcher knife in their waistline and they're like going to slit someone's money slit someone's money, going to slit someone's throat that owes them like $40 or something, and they're just like, hey, how you doing? Then you just hear like some like horrific nightmarish whale somewhere. Like that's what kind of place you're in. It's like guerrilla warfare. You don't know you don't know where you are, and you don't know how fucked up it is. We get to this place. He pulls over at this liquor store that's still open at midnight. That should tell you something. And I get out of the car and I'm like, come on, Karina, get out of the car. And Karina's like, no, why would I get out of the car? I was like, because you have to choose sides right now. And I'm pointing at my dad. I said, you've never been supportive of me. You've never believed in me. And I'm just like saying crazy shit, you know, more the Boogie Nights. It's my big dick. People want to watch me fuck. Ah. Put the bandana on and do the kung fu kick. I always love that movie. It's like my favorite movie. Love that movie. I like that part where Julianne Moore and Heather Grant. Will you call me mom? Yes, mom. They're all yayed out. That's just, I love it. It's a great scene. Feel good scene. So I'm screaming at them and I'm like, come on, Karina. And she's like, it's the middle of the night. I'm pregnant. Where are we going to go? I'm like, oh, Uber home. She's like, that's going to cost like $400 or $500. I had like $60 in my PayPal account. I was like, well, figure it out. If you don't come with me, I said, you need to pick your side right now. Now I'm yelling at my dad at the point where like he's shaking. My mom's like crying. Really fucked up. It's probably one of the lowest points in my entire relationship with my family. You know, I don't want to say relationship because, you know, it's not like that when it's familial like that. But you know what I mean? Like in the timeline of the time that I've been in their lives as their child, this was probably the worst that I ever was. I was like screaming to them to the point that they're shaking. I'm trying to get Korean. I'm like, you're a backstabbing bitch. Fuck you. If you're not going to come with me, fuck all you. I had my laptop in the minivan and I'd been working on June Gloom, you know? And of course I set myself like, I'm going to finish this book in 3 weeks and we'll publish it. There's like 2 years left to work on it. I always do shit like that. And then I get all this pressure on me. But I'd been working on it for so long, I decided to take the laptop. I'm not going to take any risks with it. So I grab the laptop and I just walk away into the night. Now, to give it some context, I just got this sleeve done. Just got this sleeve. So it's like colorful tattoos. I always wanted color. Like, you know, my legs are like, you know, you see? It's like all prison work, you know? You know, it's like my whole legs are covered in prison work. And people say that, well, you can't even tell the difference between prison work and shop work. Yeah, you can. And cops can too. I can see a convict, you know, anywhere. I think I've said this before. I'll be like at like a baseball game and I'll see like some essay and like a wife beater and he has like laugh now, cry later tattoos like in soot. And I'm like doing sign language. I'm like, hi. He's like, hey. And then like my girl will be like, who are you talking to? I'm like, nobody. She's like, are you talking to that fucking gangster looking guy? What are you doing? Are you doing sign language to that fucking gangbanger? What are you doing? And I'm like, gotta go. You know, there's just this weird like solidarity thing where with convicts, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like military guys. Like if you know that you're in the service, you automatically have this like bond. Prison's different because there's gang stuff and you're like, oh yeah, I've been to prison. Oh really? What prison? Oh what who the fuck are you? No. And like, you know, they kill you. There's all this weird prison shit. But you know, that's why I got colored tattoos, because I was like, okay, you know, if I look more like a military guy. I looks like a military, like I look like a military. I don't look as much like a convict, you know. So like when I'm driving, when they see the tattoos, they're like, oh, that guy's a convict, you know. But if you have soot all over you, you do. I don't know. Kind of over analytical shit that happens when you've done a lot of time in the hole, you know. So I start leaving and I'm wearing this wife beater, just got this sleeve done. I have my hair gelled and I'm wearing dress pants and dress shoes. And I have this laptop in my hand and there's a cord spiraling out of it. I look like a crackhead. Look like a crackhead that's going to cluck a laptop at like midnight. I'm angry. I'm in this agricultural town, Watsonville, California. I have no idea where I am. I know Watsonville's like not good though. I'm like, yeah, wait. All right, Salinas is bad. Watsonville. I'm Oakland. I'm cool. So I get to the street and I just make a left. I'm just trying to get like off the main street. I don't want to see a cop. That's another thing. I hadn't asked my PO if I could travel. You can't leave the county line like that without telling them, or that's a violation. And they were already trying to violate me. So that's why I didn't want to be on a main road. So I turn on this, I make a left on this dark road. And like one of the street lamps is like, it's like fizzing because it's like about to go out. So it's like barely illuminating. It's almost like pitch dark. But I'm looking around and it looks like I'm in the projects. I mean, you can just kind of tell, there's like, shoes with the shoestrings tied together, like dangling over like telephone lines. And, there's like, I don't know, a lot of graffiti. Everything's dilapidated. You could just tell it was like a bad area. And I'm like thinking, like, damn, I don't know where I am. And I'm like in the hood right now. Hope I don't see anyone. Literally, as I'm thinking that, an El Dorado pulls up. And there's like 4 Hispanic guys in it, probably in the early 20s. I'm like, great. Norteños. And I look like a straight up Peckerwood. I look active as fuck. Wife beater, blasted out. I don't look like just some normal civilian. I look like I've been to prison, even though I have the color tattoos. But there's still like a certain look. And I was in reasonably good shape at the time. I was working out a lot. So I like had like that prison V shape going. I'm looking at them and I'm like, I already know. I know I'm going to get jacked. It's happened to me before. We'll get into that in a different story when past times where I've gotten jumped or jacked, situations like this. So I already knew what time it was. And I was thinking, I'm like, they want my laptop. They see me with the laptop. They're going to come beat me up. They're probably strapped. They're going to smash me out. They're going to take my laptop. I'm going to lose June Gloom because I don't back up anything. There's no way I'm going to let that happen. 0 fucks given. They're slowing down and they're kind of like, following me. They're all kind of like looking at me. It's like some scene out of Menace to Society or something. Roll the window down and one of them, he's got a shaved head, face tattoos. He's like, hey, what's up, homie? And I was like, I had to think of a quick second decision to save June Gloom. And I just look at him super confidently. I'm with law enforcement, homie. The way I said it was so fucking ridiculous. It was absurd. It was absurd. It was like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. I'm with law enforcement, homie. And I could see them smiling. I'm sure they were probably like, damn, is this dude for real? This dude's full of shit. Like, what the fuck? And I start running at him full speed. And I'm going, 1986, El Dorado, 4 Hispanic males. And I'm running full speed, yelling this into my wife beater, making it look like I'm like undercover in the hood or something. They're not leaving. I'm running. It's like, that's going all in. Let me put all the chips in. All in. Keep running. And finally, they peel off. One of them was probably like, damn, what if it is a cop? Only a cop would run towards us like that. Who knows what that was my like theory. They peel off. Now I'm still in a dark street and I get on my cell phone and I call my cousin. And she's like, where are you? Everybody's looking for you. I'm like, help me. And she's like, what's wrong? I was like, Norteños are trying to kill me. She's like, I'm like, what are norteños? I'm like, I'm gonna drop my pen, and I just drop it, and I like dive into a bush. Like now I've like remember, I'm in psychosis. I'm already hearing shit, and then this happens, and we'll get into the conclusion, the last video of the breakdown series on the next one. Please like, comment, subscribe, and check out patreon.com/Ryan Leone. Appreciate you. Palabra.